And for me, it's 6.
Okay, thank you. Yes, ma'am. Oh, no. Mazi.
Yeah, hi guys. Happy to be here with you once again, and I am at 6 today.
Thank you. We have Rachel. Rachel, can you check in? Rachel?
Oh, hi, everyone. I'm feeling good today. I'm also at 6.
Okay. Jay. First, the question, Jay, are we allowed to have a session with the recruitment commission members?
No, I think they would go off and do their own recruitment commission / buddy team. We can address that after check-in.
Okay, thank you. Jessica, can you check in, please?
Okay. Thank you. Happy today to join the session. I'm at 6.
Thank you, Jessica. Jay.
I'm doing okay. Overall, I'm still very concerned and worried about the budget crisis, and I feel that yeah, hopefully we'll move things forward today. Yeah, but I didn't get a break because I was arguing with Jorge and Miguel for like the last hour. Check.
Which number?
Which number? Probably still like a 5.2.
Okay. Thanks for the session today. I'm also concerned about the budget, this disturbing all of us. I'm at 5.5. Can we go through the schedule? Each specific schedule to see the members who are supposed to be here today?
Oh yeah, so that's attendance. So the next topic is the attendance.
Okay.
So we would do that. So let's pull up the current schedule.
So what's next? Can you separate first, or we do our desired outcome before we have them?
No, we would go ahead and separate. So what we have here is we have the main Cobalt session, which is me and Lucy. We have the Jello team, Mahidi, Teresa, Kenyat. Is Kenyat here? Do we see Kenyat check in?
No.
So we would remove Kenyat. And then recruitment commission is Jessica, Rachel, Asif, Mazi, and Nilabra. So I don't personally remember Asif saying he could take the week off, but I think he is, right? Other people know about Asif taking the week off, or what?
He did not put in a written. I don't know whether there's a written place for that. Like when Albina was going, she's writing something.
Well, it should be in writing. You know, so I personally haven't heard anything from Asif. I feel like he just kind of took off and is not around. But if anyone else heard from him, you should mention it now. Otherwise, we would remove him as well. So we remove Asif. Is Jessica here? Yeah, Jessica's here. And we have Rachel, Mazi, and Nilabra.
Nilabra was checking on me. You know, I don't know whether she don't have a schedule. She was asking for the time.
Didn't show up. So let's just note here who didn't show up. So we had Asif,
Nilabra.
What?
Nilabra. I think.
So I mean, I don't know if we should take off Nilabra or not. If she did check in, when did she check in, Lucy?
That was 1 hour ago.
Yeah, that's good enough for me. So she obviously was wanting to be involved. She checked in with Lucy. We'll leave her on the schedule, right? It's fine. As long as you're checking in and communicating, that's what matters. So Mahidi, Teresa, like if you can't make it, just check in. Let us know what's going on. The quantum team is no longer meeting at this time anymore. They're going to be meeting on Fridays during Andromeda. So we have all of us here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Is that right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Are we missing anyone? Mahidi? Mahidi, no? Is anyone are we missing?
I'm missing. Yeah, hi Jay.
Mamun. Okay, so Mamun, it doesn't look like you're in this. Oh wait, here you're in the schedule for Tuesdays. Just Tuesdays. Okay, so you want to do Tuesdays and Wednesdays?
Oh yes, I can.
And then once you get a responsibility, then you would add a third day, and then once you learn a responsibility, you add a fourth day, and then you can just add more and more time and hours as you take on more responsibility.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sweet. All right. So that looks excellent. So Rachel, Jessica, and Mozzie, you guys will go to the secondary hangout. And are there any other questions on the attendance?
No question.
Albina, she's not there.
What, Lucy?
Albina, she's not there. Can you maybe add half back to the schedule, because she was not last time we removed her? Or what next?
Oh, Albina is not. She wasn't here last week?
Yes.
All right. So we can say that here, not scheduled.
Hi, everybody.
Not a schedule.
Oh, look at the Asif. Woohoo, Asif made it.
Okay.
Hi, Jay.
Hey.
Then I have concern regarding the Jello and the new recruits. I really find out yesterday there is a mess up with the document that people are creating. For example, for Teresa, people create 2 documents. One was created by Mazi and another one created by Asif. Kindly, guys, if you really helping a new recruit, just make a document in the right place.
Okay, but it's perfectly fine to duplicate documents. You just link them together, and then you make a big note on the top of the one that you delete. Go to the other one. The other one is primary. But the first thing you do whenever you discover 2 documents that are the same, you link them together. Okay?
Yeah, that's what I did yesterday.
Great. But it's expected. You know, don't scold people for creating multiple documents, because that means that they did the work, right? So doing work is good. So if you make multiple documents, just organize it, link them together, and then figure out which one's primary, and then use the main one, and then you're good to go.
Okay.
So Asif, are you doing the recruitment commission? Are you doing the Cobalt main session with me and Lucy and Albina, or what's your plan?
I think this is Cobalt session for. I'm scheduled for Cobalt session, I think, for you and Lucy.
Okay, so you're gonna stay here. Okay. So Mozzie, Rachel, and Jessica would go to the secondary hangout, and you guys would be doing a recruitment buddy team, and you guys would be, working on the budget, the recruitment budgets, and preparing for the, all of the main buddy team support, as well as the Sonic team recruitment.
I think they need to focus on their main Jessica and Rachel. They need to update their main buddy team. I don't see their main buddy team together with their budget. Please, if you can help that, Mazi, help them to work on that first.
Yeah. So you guys,
sure, no problem.
You guys need to know how to do your own main buddy team so that you can help and support all the new recruits. So all the new recruits are going to be required to make main buddy teams, and you're going to be working with existing workers who need to switch their main buddy teams and create new main buddy teams. Okay?
Okay. And I've got a buddy team with Asif, and it's ready to propose.
What?
I created a main buddy team with Asif, and it's ready to propose now.
Okay, so the only thing you guys would be proposing is your budget. So if you have your budget, you just link it here, and we can, you know, consider in the budget. What I had here was Mazi and Shagimi as a main buddy team.
Yeah, that's what I
Oh,
did.
That was a PB team, was provisional buddy team.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, we just need to change it. So Asif and Mazi, you guys have created officially a main buddy team together.
Yes.
Okay. Well, that's
As if when
Actually,
you
you know,
create
actually, honestly, wait, Lucy, wait. Actually, I'm not having my PC at the moment because my all the luggage and all that thing are packed up. So I'm logging with my mobile right now. But it was in the afternoon over here when I created a main buddy team with Mazi. Hopefully, I'll unwrap my luggage and we'll be back to work for tomorrow. Yeah.
that
Because
sounds
my
great.
PC is in the luggage and that's all. Okay.
Yeah, as long as you guys have created your main buddy team, that should be all that matters. So we'll address that in the budget section. So secondary hangout for the recruitment commission. This would be Mazi and Rachel and Jessica. Rachel, Jessica, do you guys have any other questions? Are you guys good? Cool. And then just so you guys know, all the proposals that we propose and vote on, we'll send over to you just the same. You guys can also have your runner. You can have a runner, and we'll have a runner too. Okay. So
Okay,
Asif, why not you be the runner for the recruitment commission? That sound good?
Yeah, okay, no worries. But as I told you, I'm off over my
I want
mobile.
to
Is it
answer
okay?
Asif.
Yeah.
Asif, can you send that link to Mazi so that he can work on that? Because when I'm working on the main buddy teams, we need everyone to link the buddy team so that we can run. We see, because we really need to run all the buddy team to see the budget. I just need that for the budget.
It is already with Mazi, because as I told you, I'm not on my PC, I'm on my cell phone. So it is already with Mazi. Mazi, can you just share it with Lucy, please, so she can rank it up?
Yeah, I'll share it.
Cool. And it
Please.
should also be linked onto the personnel support doc
Yes.
and to your main docs.
Right.
Okay, you can go on now.
All right. So that was attendance. So that was good. So now we're going to do our evaluations and prioritization. And we'll be good from that. So let's, if someone could link the prioritization spreadsheet for Cobalt, that would be helpful. We'll do 5-10 minutes of silence here, and then we will move on to our session. I definitely want to add to our internal team stuff. We want to talk. I'm going to add the budget, and I'll make sure that one's prioritizable. And then also I have a vibes agenda item I want to talk, if we can get up prioritized. So anyways, we'll go through that next. All right.
Can you guys go to the secondary hangout or any hangout that you feel like?
We have Rachel, Mazi, and Jessica. This is the 5th time that we've asked you guys to go to the secondary hangout for the recruitment commission.
Yeah, sure. I was just giving my main dog link. Okay, I'll Skype it, Lucy. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, guys. Awesome. And just be in touch with whatever you guys are working on, and just so we know what's going on. And we'll have Asif be the runner back and forth, and you guys can have a runner too.
Okay, great. Thank you, guys. Bye.
Cool.
Yeah, just link it on your dog, Mazi. No worry. Link it on your personal profile. I will get it there.
Okay, I'll link it there. Okay, guys. Bye.
Ciao.
Bye. Good. Yeah, good to go.
Cool. And just to remind everybody, when we do vote on things, that we still send it to the recruitment commission. So the recruitment commission's fully involved in all the voting and everything. They just, technically should have their own double team, but they only have 3 people today. But no. Okay. So evaluations and prioritization.
I'm still looking for that. I got it. That's good. There you go.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And just to remind you guys, when we are doing our voting, when you have new people, you would just go ahead and copy in the previous votes of the person. For example, Mamoon's back, so we just copy Mamoon in. So Jay, Mamoonian, Lucy, Kenyat's not here, so we take Kenyat out. Pop Kenyat over here, and then we need to add in Mazis and recruitment Asif. So we add in Asif. Teresa Mahidi, Aline's not here, so we take out Aline. And Albina, I don't see Albina here. So to add in Albina. It's like, you know, you never want to delete somebody because then all their votes would be lost, you know?
Yeah, okay.
And they have to redo them all. So it's possible someone deleted all of Albina's previous votes because I'm assuming she's been here before. So is that everybody? So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 people. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people. So we have one too many. Jay, Mamoon, Lucy, Asif, Teresa, Mahidi.
It's me, Jay. I think I did not vote because I cannot vote right now. It's me.
Well, that's okay. You still have your votes from last time.
Right.
But let's see here. Well, I still count 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, we lost Albina. What happened to Albina? All right. Well, we lost Albina. I don't know. So just remember when you're done with the internal team setup, prioritization, then we go on to the work goals and priorities for the week. And so we also need to do this here as well. You just have to copy and paste the old people and add in the new people who are added, you know? It shouldn't be too hard, okay?
Okay.
And the one that I'm adding to the bottom here is the vibes agenda item, vibes and non-violent communication. So just let me know when everyone's done voting, or when we're at time, whoever's the timekeeper. How much time do we have left?
For these, we started at 30 minutes after the session. So we are doing this for 6 minutes.
So we have 5 more minutes?
Yeah.
Okay. Is anyone done yet?
Yeah, I'm done voting.
Great. Okay, let's all just take a quick, I'm just gonna take a quick break as well. So I'm just gonna get some water. I'll be right back since we skipped at the bottom of the hour, and then we will go on to our desired outcomes and topics.
I'll be back in 30 seconds.
All right. I'm back and doing pretty good here. All right, so you ready to get started?
10 minutes now.
Okay,
yeah.
Cool. So let's go on to our desired outcomes. Are there any desired outcomes anyone wants to add? So we want to get more organized as a team. Obviously, we want to address the budget crisis and have a discussion about the budget situation.
Okay.
So that address and discuss budget crisis. Maybe move toward the budget proposal and voting forms. Any other desired outcomes?
I'm back.
Asif, could you let on Skype, could you let the Recruitment Commission know that we're working on desired outcomes in our topic?
Sure, yeah, I'll do that now.
And ask them if they're organized. Okay, so
Another desired outcome is to focus on our mandatory topics.
Mandatory priorities.
Yes.
Okay, so that could actually be a new thing that we could vote on. So our work goals and priorities could include the mandatory priorities. I'll put that at 8.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So maybe not focus. Maybe focus isn't the best word, but review mandatory priorities. Okay. All right. So if we take our internal team setup priorities that we all voted on, let's see what we end up with. It says our top priority is vibes and nonviolent communication, which is interesting. Okay, let's rank these all correctly here. Then we have the budget. Then we've got the recruitment coordination and goals, work goals, and brainstorm. So it looks like we have a pretty clear list of priorities for our session today. Are there any objections to these topics and the desired outcomes that we have?
No.
Okay, so I guess this looks like our plan. I'm kind of curious just to see where our priorities lie for our, oh no, what happened? I made a mistake somewhere. Kind of curious where our priorities lie for the week. Mandatory priorities are the top priority already. I love it. And budget. Okay. Cool. So let's move on here. So when we get to our work goals and priorities brainstorm, we'll be going over our mandatory priorities. We'll be going over the work for the budget again, and administrative assistance, onboarding coordination. This shouldn't take too long, maybe like 10 minutes. All right, then. So I think we are ready to start our first topic, which would be vibes and nonviolent communication. So vibes and nonviolent communication. So it definitely took us a while to get to this point. So we're definitely behind schedule overall, but it's okay. We're okay overall. All right, so the first thing to understand, and we're gonna need to create a doc to be part of communications doc, to index it. Index this. The bottom line is that vibes is our safe word. Does anyone want to explain what a safe word is and what we use the word vibes for?
As per my understanding, safe words mean that you do not get hurt from your words or something. You do not get any kind of insulting kind of words, or you do not use any kind of bad communication words or something.
Yeah, that makes sense. So, I mean, basically, if you hear someone say something that doesn't make you feel good, or that you feel like it could be attacking somebody else, or that someone else wouldn't feel like it's okay to say, you would just simply say the word vibes, or you can write the word vibes or put it in the Skype group or wherever in the communication. So the idea is that we all agree that any of us can use the word vibes at any moment, and then that's a communication check. And what it means is what I just heard sits wrong with me, and it doesn't feel right, like that maybe you potentially may have crossed the line. So we use this as part of our pre-conflict evolution policies. And the reason why we do this is trying to prevent conflict, right? Because what happens if people say nasty things or doesn't make people feel good and you don't say anything about it, and then no one knows it, and then you just slowly get it pent up inside of you, and then that builds and then erupts into conflict and becomes a major problem. So the idea of the vibes word is to quickly and efficiently, boom, vibes, like that was an appropriate thing to say, you know, or I'm not sure what you meant by it, but when I heard it, it didn't feel right. Does that make sense?
So if someone annoyed you, you just write the word vibe and you are silent, right?
What?
Or you need to explain something. You just only write the vibe, or you need to explain something also.
Well,
just only the word vibe.
You would say the word vibes, or like, so if someone, so you say it, you know, if you say the word vibes, when you feel like you heard someone say something inappropriate, or, you know, negative, you know, just like that. That's just violent. It's basically violent communication, right? So we'll give some examples to this. Obviously, yelling, you know, raising your voice, like getting inappropriate, like feeling, you know, attacking someone, saying something nasty. Those all automatic vibes, right? But vibes goes way beyond that, where it's like someone can be alluding to someone or saying, or gossiping or saying something about somebody else, or doing some other thing that doesn't seem like that's correct, right? Because remember, everything that we do, for example, right now, is publicly accountable, broadcast live. It's publicly accessible, right? So all of our recordings, all of our documents, everything is open to the public, right? So when we say something nasty about someone or some culture or some other group, it looks bad for our entire organization. So we are here as representatives of the African Community Network. And so if someone says something, we have the vibes word to be able to address it. So let's give a couple examples. So one example, and you know, these are things that Steve has said recently that didn't sit well to me. She said that, you know, quote, working with her gives me a headache. Right? So it doesn't really matter who this is about. It happens to be about, you know, Monty or whatever. But the point is that no one should ever say that, because it's not a nice thing to say. And it's and you know, Steve apologized. He said that it was not appropriate for him to say that. But if we don't call people out on it, then they aren't going to learn. And it's best to always call people out in the moment. No? Maybe. Want me to get up? So by calling people out in the moment, you're able to help them learn and not say it in the future. So does that sort of make sense as far as an example?
Yeah.
Cool. Another example would be, and I think this is also very important, and it relates to this other concept of neutral vibes. So neutral vibes is about proposals. So when we make proposals and we vote on decisions, those proposals need to be neutral. So if you are bringing personal, emotional issues into the decision-making process, it's not acceptable, and it may not be a personal attack or a vibe, but it's part of the neutral vibe, where it's even more regulated and more important to be neutral, entirely neutral. So an example of that would be, quote, I get work done. We are such good workers, right? So it's not actually a negative statement at all. It's saying like, I'm such a good worker. I'm like one of the best workers in the organization, or I'm the best worker in the organization, or I get work done all the time, and so it makes sense to say that, but in the relationship of the team, and this goes back to the concept of teamwork, it doesn't make any sense at all. So if we're all a team, we're a global core team, we're all here to support each other as a team, to say I do good work, right, and therefore I should get paid money or blah, 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 it's implying the context that other people aren't doing good work. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So we have to be careful when we talk about these things, especially in relationship to proposals, that it's really not about how good or bad your work is. The only thing pertinent is what work you did. What is the actual example of the work you did, given a specific example, not the opinion of the work. We don't care about your opinion, because your opinion is potentially hurting other people, right? It's a negative statement towards other people that you're a good worker, but that someone else isn't, right? And this happens quite often. So, and just so you guys know, we haven't made an official policy on this, but for me, the way that I calculate work is it's work output divided by cost. So the way that I look at it is someone who's getting paid $1,000 versus someone who's getting paid $200. The person getting paid $1,000 should technically have 5 times the amount of output and work done from the person who does $200 of work. And I mean, there's all the jurisdictional pay and all that stuff, but people can start their own business or can make their own money and bring in their own money and do all they want with it. But for the global budget, the idea that your work is better and you're getting paid 5 times more, you better be doing 5 times more work, as far as I'm concerned, which very rarely happens. So I think that's it on vibes and nonviolent communication. Are there any other questions about it or other examples people want to suggest?
For example, Jay, if we write, for example, on Skype vibes, what happens next, for example?
So if you write vibes on Skype, right? So, yes. Example, if you write vibes on Skype, typically this would be related to a real-time session during a buddy team, right?
Mm-hmm, right.
So if issues come up on Skype, you don't address them. Skype is to address the work, and you communicate about the work, what work's getting done, what are the policies, how to follow the policies. That's what Skype is used for. If issues come up on Skype, you save them until you get on the Hangout, and you communicate them about the Hangout. So one of our policies is that policy, do not use Skype for issues. And we're not great at that. I mean, issues still come up, but if it's a policy thing, you can address the policies, but the issues themselves, Skype is not an appropriate place for that. So let's say you're in a buddy team during the Cobalt session, and you write vibes in the Skype. That would imply that you have an issue with the person that you're working with, and that you don't feel comfortable anymore, and that someone else should go to your buddy team and help you and work out, some conflict mediation or figure out what's going on, right? So basically, you're telling the rest of the group that you have an issue with your buddy team, and that something's going wrong, and that you have a conflict or some sort of issue, and that you want somebody else to come into your buddy team to address the situation, and that has to do with our conflict mediation. So that's what it means to write vibes on Skype.
Okay, so
I have a question, Jay. I have a question.
Yeah.
Yeah. If I get any problem, who should I approach on the Skype? Let's say I wrote vibes, and whom should I approach my problem?
Can you say that again, Maman?
Hello.
Can you say that again, Maman?
Yeah, sure. Actually, let's say I have a problem and I wrote vibes, and whom should I approach the problem? I mean, whom should I ask for the problem that I'm having this problem? I need the solution.
So the vibes, there is a vibes watcher position within all sessions. I believe it is the actually I would have to look at the policy, but I believe it's the highest ranked people. Like, it would be the leadership buddy team is responsible for vibes in all the buddy teams, right? So if there's vibes going on, there's an issue going on within a buddy team, the leadership buddy team is responsible for making sure that it's addressed, right? If the vibes are with one of the leaders, then it would automatically go to the next highest ranked person who is not involved in the potential conflict, right? So so that's our policy, that whoever is actively available at the time, who's the highest ranked in the leadership buddy team, would directly address the issue. And ideally,
chain of command.
Yeah, and then if it's not applicable to a buddy team, or something happens at another time, or there's just an ongoing issue, our policy for conflict evolution is very clear. So for conflict, basically the first step, and if someone could link our conflict evolution policies doc, that would be great. Let's see, doc, here, so that everyone has access to it, but it should be linked on our policies in general. Anyways, the step one is to directly address the person you have an issue with. Step two would be, if you don't feel comfortable doing that or it didn't work, you would ask one or two other people maximum to support you in communicating with the person or people at issue. Okay, so one of the things you do not do is you don't like get in an issue with someone, and then go to a huge group of like 5 people and be like, oh, I have a problem with this other person, and then having 6 people all gang up against the one person. That's not how you deal with conflict. If you have a problem, you ask 1 or 2 other people to help you communicate and support you, right? And it can be anybody you feel comfortable with talking to about it. And then step 3, that you would bring up at a regularly scheduled main session. Okay, so if the issue continues, you bring up a regularly scheduled session, and that you must notify the person that you have a issue with before you bring it to the main session. So the last thing you want to do is in front of 5-10 people to bring up this issue that the person doesn't even know you're bringing it up, and they don't even know about it. And trust me, it's happened multiple times where it's like, we have this big issue with this person, and no one's even talked to them about it, and they didn't even know it was going to be bringed up. So it's out of nowhere. And that's just against the policy. So you simply need to tell them ahead of time, bring it up at the regularly scheduled meeting, and then that is where the official conflict evolution process would start if it's a more serious problem. But typically step 1, step 2, and step 3 can take care of the majority of the issues before the conflict erupts, right? So the goal is to prevent conflict. It's the conflict prevention process. But many times we end up with conflicts erupting and getting bigger. And I mean, as you'll see, as the organization grows and more people get involved from all different cultures across the world, it's just chaos. You know, it's just really difficult, and in conflict is the normal. So we don't try to get away from conflict. We try to address the conflict and learn from it. And that's why we call it conflict evolution, because through conflict, we learn about ourselves and we evolve and we learn about our communities and others. So it's not necessarily a bad thing. The more you try to ignore the conflict and the issues, usually the more they get worse and worse, and then eventually they boil over. So.
Yeah, but Jim,
sure.
Sometimes it happens that a person is speaking in a normal way, okay, but other person is thinking that it's insulting to him or her.
Yeah, that would be
like
vibes. Yeah, that's vibes. So anytime that you feel that, not even just you, if you don't feel good about what someone says, regardless of whether they felt or may have perceived it or not, right? You can say vibes, and then you can explain it and make sure that they understand that even though they didn't feel like that was hurtful, it was hurtful. But even more importantly, if someone says something that's not hurtful for you, but you think that might be hurtful for someone else, it's still vibes, right? It's not okay to say something to this group, like we have the 6 of us, you know, we go say something about some other person and they're not here. It's not appropriate unless we would say it to that person directly, or that culture or that other group. We don't talk about people negatively or derogatorily ever, regardless of the people who are in the room wouldn't feel that it's bad. If it's going to hurt someone else, it's still not appropriate. It's still vibes. Does that make sense, Asif?
Yes, it's clear now.
And it doesn't matter the person who says it. The person who says it most of the time is not trying to hurt anybody, right? What matters is the person who perceives it, and that we're all committed to thinking about what we say, not just based on how we feel about it, but how other people perceive and hear what we say. Okay? Yeah.
Okay.
And that's it's let's be honest, that's pretty much impossible, right? There's no possible way for us to ever be able to perfectly filter everything that we say so that it sits well with every other culture across the entire world. But that's the challenge that we, as the African Community Network, value. We value being professional and being able to communicate and represent, you know, a community that can work with all types of people and cultures across the world, regardless of their group or their mannerisms or their understanding, right? So we try to be a neutral party. Okay, so I think we're ready to move on. How is our time? Are we over time on this?
18 minutes on this.
We had 5 to 10 minutes, so we're 8 minutes over. So you should just pick up the timekeeping. Remember to check in every 5 minutes, and then when we have 2 minutes left, and that time. Okay, so anything else on the vibes and nonviolent communication? Any other questions?
I did not understand well when you said when you write vibe on Skype, it's not good. Where should you address if someone have a problem with you? Maybe you feel like it is good that maybe you let other people know.
If you have a problem with somebody, if you have a problem, no, if you have a problem with someone, you can Skype them and say on the group, and you can say, hey, I would like to schedule a session for a hangout with this person, right? And you discuss the issue on the hangout, you know, in real time, and you communicate like normal human professional people, right? That's what you do. You do not discuss issues on Skype, period. Okay?
Okay.
Yeah, you discuss any issue is discussed on a live hangout or audio, phone call, whatever, in person. It's just Skype and texting and emailing back and forth just makes issues worse, right? So it's not that people aren't allowed to do it. It's just that it's just going to get worse because that's our experience. You know, so if you are on a hangout and you are having a discussion with someone based on an issue and it gets worse and it's a problem, the policy is that you write vibes on the group Skype and you ask someone to immediately come to the hangout to support you. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So the reason why so what you would write is you'd write vibes and you'd write the hangout that you're on, and then that would be it. So let's see, vibes on Skype. So write vibes and which hangout you are on. Okay. Yeah. And again, typically when you have an issue with someone, you would typically want to get on a hangout with them and one other person, right? Maybe you don't feel comfortable talking with them directly by yourself. It just depends on how you feel about it.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, let's move on. We can always talk more about conflict evolution in the future. So let's go on to the budget, right? Budget's next. Okay. So we worked on a draft budget today, and this draft budget is still attention secondary hangout. Oh yeah, you're gonna let them know that we are going on to the budget discussion?
Yes.
And make sure they know we talked about the what do you call it, the conflict resolution and vibe stuff. So if they want to watch that video, they can. All right, so let's see here. Simple budget for next month. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and just link the budget link itself. And then I'm also going to put the actual numbers as well.
Jay, can I link all the expenses that we have before?
What?
Can I link all the ranking?
Sure. Yeah, that's fine. So obviously the biggest change that needs to be made here is Asif and Mazi. Because right now it's Mazi and Shigimi. So we would change Mazi and Shigimi to Asif and Mazi. And then obviously this would no longer be a link. And then all this would be incorrect as far as like the actual. So this is the requested amount. Just because this is the requested amount does not mean that that's the amount you're going to be paid. So this would be the main buddy team here. This would be the requested budget from the main buddy team. And this would be the expected amount that would be paid out based on the previous month. So that could go up, it could go down.
Joy is also going to change because I see it's like they're having another main buddy team with it together with the game.
Okay, well that's fine. We can address that later when we get there.
Okay.
Cool. But let's just leave it like this for now, okay?
Okay.
All right. So so what this represents is the minimal, budget under $3,000 per month for those we more or less expect to be able to fit in the budget. So there's still reason why people would not fit in the budget even if they are in this draft. One is verification has not been done on main buddy team proposals. If your main buddy team proposal doesn't meet the minimum criteria, and we can go through the minimum criteria if you guys want to, or your online personnel profile doesn't meet the minimum criteria, you will automatically be cut from the budget. And then you'll have to get your main buddy team proposal and your online personnel profile updated until it does meet the minimum criteria. Additionally, individuals must also fit in their respective super team budgets, right? So let's say Asif doesn't fit in his budget. It doesn't matter that Mazi fits in his team budget, it could affect both people in their main buddy team. So if all individuals don't fit into their super team budgets, then that's also a problem. It's required. So right now, this does not address super team budgets, so we haven't gone there. Okay, does everyone understand?
Yeah.
We're going through the budget. Well, hopefully we'll be done in like another 40 minutes. So any other questions regarding the budget so far? So just so everyone understands this, if we pass this budget and we didn't add anyone else to the budget, this will be, there will be 12 people, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 people. Of the current 30 people or 25 to 30 people. So we would be cutting more than, more than half of the people in the budget would be cut. Okay. So the idea that this is the minimal budget, and then the goal is that this would be what we could, more or less expect to be able to do. And then, hopefully we can add more people to the budget depending. So a couple examples. The first example that's very important to note here, and let's hope you can see my screen, is so 2-week notice would be given to Asif, Razu, and Zilu. So Asif, Razu, and Zilu are, as individuals, they fit in the budget perfectly fine. Like you can see here under their direct hourly jurisdiction, Asif Razu is actually the highest paid worker, the highest ranked paid worker for all of the entire team, right? He's only making like $3 an hour or so. From there, you have Zilu, who's also within the $3 range. And so therefore, they're ranked very, very high. But they have a buddy team with Abdul, who's ranked very, very low and who already had 2 weeks notice. And Abdul is almost double their rate, right? And they have a triple buddy team. So overall, when you look at their buddy team ranking, which we can see over here, so this would be the main buddy team actual pay. So this is the actual paid. Did Albina ever come back? No. And you can see that Abdul, Zilu, and Razu are the second highest paid team of all the teams. Okay?
Yeah.
So of the actual paid per month, they're the second highest team in the highest old world team. So, and this is all because of Abdul, right? Zilu and Razu are like actually some of the lowest paid workers and would be ranked the highest, but Abdul, affects that. So their main buddy team, could be cut. If their main buddy team's cut, Zilu and Razu could easily create their own main buddy team or create a new main buddy team with someone else and get added back into the budget. And that would be just like a done deal, right? They would automatically get back in the budget because they're some of the highest ranked, workers. Okay, that makes sense. But Abdul could potentially get cut. So because of that, the way that it works is that in the budget we have Asif and Razu getting 2 weeks notice because we haven't given them 2 weeks notice yet, and they would have these 2 weeks to create a main buddy team and get back in the budget, whereas Abdul is not included in the budget. And also you can see here for Abdul that Abdul is the second highest paid per jurisdictional worker. So he's getting paid 138% of his jurisdictional rate, right? So it means if his jurisdictional rate's $5 an hour based on where he lives, and I believe it's Bangladesh, he's making more than the base rate. This has nothing to do with minimum wage. This is just living wage. So it's like already, 5-10 times over minimum wage. So it's in relationship to everyone else, he is making a lot of money, right? So that's another reason why Abdul, and Jorge gets automatically proposed. Like our policy now is that if you're ranked at the bottom, like Jorge here, in terms of your pay rate, jurisdiction or direct hourly or whatever, you automatically get proposed to be cut from the budget. It doesn't mean we have to agree with it and approve the proposal, but the proposal automatically is proposed and it goes to the voting form. Okay? So Abdul obviously is bringing in a lot of money, where if you look at Zilu and you look at Asif Razu, they are almost less than half of Abdul. Coolio. So let's
10 minutes. That's it.
10 minutes on this. Okay, so basically the goal of this particular time right now is just to see if there's questions about the budget, understand what you would need to do to get into the budget, and also anything else. And I don't know if Asif and Mazi fit in the budget because we haven't actually considered it, but what we do know is that Shagimi and Mazi did fit. So if Asif was making around the same amount as Shagimi, then it should be okay. I just don't know.
Joyce and Aline also.
It's 300 for both. 17 hours. If you check the doc, it's 300 for Mazi and 300 for Asif as well.
Cool. Well, anyways, we're gonna have to update that all in the budgets and make sure it's clear. But as far as I'm concerned, if we vote on this now, I'm okay with approving this because this is all preliminary. Again, it doesn't include the budget. You want me to leave? Huh? Want me to leave? I know I'm really cold in the other room. You can go in the other room. So what I was trying to say is that we need to fit all of the super team budgets, and we don't know where Asif is going to be yet. So that's a problem. And for Mazi's in the recruitment commission. And we don't necessarily know Mazi's going to fit in the recruitment commission, depending on the total budget for the recruitment commission, et cetera, et cetera. So everyone needs to fit in the overall budget, and they all need to fit in their super team budget. And that's one of the new policies we're instituting that we didn't have before. Before, we would just fit people into their super team budgets, and then all the super team budgets added up together would be way over budget. So now we need to add up all the budgets. Yeah.
What is the budget for super team?
Well, every super team has a different budget. So, for example, last month, the current budget that you're in now is the Sonic team. So the Sonic team had a $300 budget, which fit you, and now it doesn't. I believe the Sonic team doesn't have a $300 budget now, and so therefore we can't fit you in the Sonic budget. I don't know. We have to double check that.
What about like for us? We did not use our money for last time because we are on a direct ranking. Are we going to add with what we have now and make the budget?
I don't understand. What do you mean you didn't get paid?
No. Last month on our invoice, we did not use the money for our invoice. Since both of us rank on direct ranking. So can we use that now? Are we allowed to use that? Add it to the invoice that we have currently?
No, that's not how it works. It's like when you spend money, you're spending the money of the organization. The fact that it comes from the direct hour ranking doesn't mean that you can double dip from the budget. When you spend the money, you spend the money. It doesn't like just because you have direct hour ranking doesn't mean that your super team doesn't have to do work. Like that would be insane. So the direct hour ranking supplements a super team budget, right? It doesn't give it free money. Right? So if your Zuri team isn't doing work and the Zuri team budget gets cut, then there's no money for Zuri team. You got to switch to a different super team. So if you come to the recruitment commission or you come to the Jello team or whatever, the direct hourly budget can support you're moving into a new team, but it doesn't just give free money to not get the work done and not do billable work. Does that make sense?
Yes, but I think we have like we budget that for direct ranking, those who fit on direct ranking like last time, and those who don't fit on direct ranking, they are using the money for their invoice. But for our case, last month we had our invoice for 100, but both of us we fit on direct ranking. That's why we are here up now.
Yeah, but my point is that the idea that the direct ranking budget and the work that you do are not related together is nonsense, right? When you're on direct ranking budget, it's there to supplement and mean that you're not going to get fired per se, but it doesn't mean you can't just not do the billable work, right? You do the billable work first, you get your invoice, and all the work that you do needs to be within your invoice, right? If you have an invoice, you bring in money, you don't get additional direct hour pay money on top of your invoice money as free money. It's just double dipping. That's not going to happen. You get paid for doing the work that's assigned and required, not getting free money. No one's getting free money. There's no free money being distributed. So if you don't do enough work to have the invoice so that you can keep your super team functional, right? Then that's a major problem for your super team. And you can get cut from your super team even if you have the direct hourly ranking. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So the only thing the direct hourly ranking helps you with is whatever super team you go to would supplement your direct hourly ranking budget. So if you go to the recruitment commission, or you go to the Jello team, or you go to some other team, since your team was not functional, right? We're not going to just like let's say everybody in the Zuri team, was in the direct hourly ranking, and nobody else in the world was, or only the Zuri team, right? But the Zuri team was completely dysfunctional and got absolutely no work done and did absolutely nothing. We're not just going to continually give the Zuri team $1,000 every month to do absolutely nothing. That's never going to happen. They would all get cut from the budget because they didn't invoice, they didn't meet their minimum requirements, and they have to go work with a functional team. For example, the recruitment commission, or the Cobalt team, or the Jello team, or the Sonic team, or some other functional team where there's oversight to oversee them since they weren't getting any work done. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. Good. Any other questions about the budgets?
I have a lot of questions.
Jay, I have a question. When a person stays with no budget, what happens? Like when you cut a person, when a person is cut from the budget, what happens?
Well, let's look at the timeline here for a bit. So today, so we do everything based on the lunar calendar. It's called the Selenium calendar, is our calendar that we created.
Mm-hmm.
And so the new moon is the beginning of the month. And that's, I believe, on Sunday. So today, and we can see this at the top, our notes here. Today is 26/4/82 East. Okay, so it's the 26th day of the 4th month of the 82nd East half year of the Selenium calendar. So we put that here, 26/4/82 East. We also put that up here, 26/4/82 East. So what that means is that if today is the 26th, then tomorrow would be the 27th, and then the last day of the month is the 28th, right? And so this would be basically Friday, Saturday, right? Then we have Saturday, Sunday is what's called the due day, which is the day off. Okay, so one day per month we don't work. Nobody works on the day off, and so this would be like Saturday, Sunday, and then on Sunday it would be the new moon, which would be the beginning of the next session. So if you're on the Jello team, you wouldn't attend the new moon session. If you're on the recruitment commission, you should attend the new moon session. Actually, Asif, you should remind the recruitment commission that they should be attending the new moon session over the weekend.
Sure, I will do that now.
So, and of course, when the new moons or the sessions fall at the same time as a Cobalt session, like at East Pacific, then everyone here in the Jello team can attend it. I believe this series session is actually going to be during a Cobalt, which is a big one. Although you guys can attend that one anyway. So anything above the Mars session, anyone can attend, regardless of the time, because they're such big sessions. So the Saturn session, everyone's invited to the Saturn session. Everybody is invited to the series session, including the public. So that would be the last day. So the last day is the 28th, the day off. No one should be working. And then if people are not in the budget, then after that they wouldn't be working, right? So what would happen is that they would need to work with the HR board to address their budget proposals to get back into the budget.
Okay.
And this is for everybody who already had 2-week notice. So if you look at the HR rankings here, so this would be the direct hourly HR rankings. These are all people who did not get 2-week notice, which includes Asif Razu, Lucy, Zilu, Aline, Joseph, Shagimi, Albina, Stevo, Jocelyn, right? So any of these people automatically will not be cut from the budget on the new moon, right? But it doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to be in the budget. So for example, Asif, Razu, and Zilu are not in the budget and are getting 2 weeks notice. And so they'll have 2 weeks notice to get back into the budget. But they'll still get paid.
They will not be working.
Well, no. They get 2 weeks notice so they can fully work and fully continue to do everything they're doing. They they're just not in the budget until they figure out their main buddy team and get all set up. So, but again, we didn't give them 2 weeks notice. So if we had given them 2 weeks notice, then they wouldn't be working. Does that make sense?
Okay.
So the only reason they get, a free pass is because they basically fit in the budget. I mean, Zilu's only making like $3 an hour. Asif Razu is the #1 ranked, worker, right? As far as direct hourly worker. So like that's like he gets a free pass, right? So technically he would be partly my boss, right? It's like that's how the higher ranked you are, the more of a boss you are. Like that's how it works, right?
Okay.
So the less money that you're willing to work for, the more power you have in the organization. Who is all of our bosses? Who's the ultimate boss of all bosses? Who is the ultimate?
Director ranked highly direct ranked person.
Nope. Who are we accountable to? Who is the ultimate accountability to as we work with the African Community Network? Who are we accountable to?
Public.
The public. So anyone in the public, guess how much money they get paid? Nada. Right? So if you're not getting paid, you become closer and closer to the public. The less and less you're getting paid, the more you are basically the public. And so in the end, our primary boss is the public, right? So when we launch publicly and we get people from the public involved, we are working for them. They are our boss. Does that everyone make sense to everybody?
Yes.
Yes. Cool. All right. So let's move on for the budget. So I guess we can vote. So are there other questions about the budget? I think it's pretty clear, right? So we would approve, the idea would be to approve these people in the budget.
We want us to vote and we are not yet including Chidemi. You can say just put it there. Chidemi, they're making the budget with 3 of them. That's their budget now.
Okay, but it still could be over, you know? Like, I mean, I'm perfectly inclined to just, you know, skip all of it and just do you know, the top 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 people. You know? Like, this is fine for me. And pass like a, so this is our initial base budget, right? So we could pass 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 people, and then at least have some budget initiated, and then we can add more people to the budget as we get more clarity. I mean, basically, bottom line, Asif and Mazi, your main buddy team's not set up. We don't understand it. We don't have the numbers. Same thing with Joyce, Shagimi, Aline. Boom, automatic removal from the budget. You know what I mean? Like, under our policies, we should just be passing the people that we know are correctly in the budget and can be verified. So again, the point is that this is not the final budget. This is just to get things started so that we have something moving forward and some type of base to work with. Does that sort of make sense, or no? Or
yes, yeah.
So what do you guys want to do? Do you guys want to just pass the budget without Asif, Mazi, Aline, and Joyce and just cut that out? Or do you want to try to add it in?
So what happened? We vote without them.
Say what?
What happened if we vote without Asim, Mazi, Joyce, and Aline and Shiden?
Well, then we just need to add them back in later. So this is option 1.
Okay.
And remember, Asif, Mazi, Joyce, and Aline is the least of our problems. We're cutting a lot more people that are even more problematic, right? And this isn't saying that anyone's cut. So the proposal here is not cutting people from the budget. The proposal is saying that we definitely want to include these people regardless of who's cut. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And even then, we're not even saying that they're for sure get approved, because we still need to verify that they have their main buddy team proposals, their online personnel proposals, and that they fit in their super team budgets. Right? So even if we do approve this and then we go back through it and they don't fit in their budgets, there's already a problem. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Jay, can you check MET doc for Asif and Mazi on Cobalt Skype, if possible?
I mean, this is just all work that needs to get done. I'm not sure if I really want to do it right this second, but I will if we want to prioritize that. But let's just go ahead and get voting, okay?
Okay.
So just give me one more segundo here. What am I messing up? There we go. Okay, so option number 2. So this is the initial consideration for voting on the minimum people who may be included in next month's budget if and only if they meet the minimum criteria for main buddy teams and super. Okay.
We have more 5 minutes.
Cool. Thank you. So that's the first proposal, option 1. Option 2 is basically it's just the first 4 people. It's not gonna work, is it? So ideally, we would create all of these budgets and have everything prepared and done ahead of time. We don't, because we're not organized, or not, like, everything isn't the way that it should be, okay? So, but we're just doing our best. So let's just put in the new totals. So it is 1,900 and 1,700. And then we can go ahead and vote. Okay. Oh, wait, that didn't work. 1906, 17. Cool. Okay, so just so you guys understand, the requested is the requested budget. Even if we approve these requested budgets, doesn't mean they get the requested budget, right? People could still get less based on lowest budgets. Okay, that makes sense?
Yes.
So this is just the requested budgets. We want to base our budgets and who's getting in and out of the budget based on how much people request. But we know that we're already cutting a lot of people from the budget. So if we could get more people in the budget by going lower than our requested, that would be good. But the idea is if you request a really high budget, you know, you're not the first considered into the budget, right? You got to request a budget that is workable. And then right now we're obviously not giving people more than the requested unless it is like obviously necessary to do that. But again, that will come afterwards. Okay, so I think this is done. Any questions about the two options? Okay, so let's go ahead and vote. So I'm going to vote for option 2 because I think it is cleaner, simpler, clearer, and you know it has been confirmed to fit correctly and meet the criteria as best as we know so far. And the option 1 doesn't. We just don't know about Asif and Mazi. We don't know about Joyce and Alina. I haven't been able, and Shagimi, I haven't been able to verify it yet. But it actually fits. So, Lucy, do you want to take us through the voting, or?
Yeah. Proposal. The first proposal is the first proposal, option 1, initial consideration for voting on the people who may be included in next month's budget, if and only if they meet the minimum criteria for MBT, which is member teams and super team budget. People included still get less based on lowest budget. The option 2, initial consideration for voting on the people who may be included in next month's budget if and only if they meet the minimum criteria for MBT and super team budget. People could still get less base pay on lowest budget.
So the options are, the proposal options are exactly the same proposal. The difference is simply that one has main buddy team Asif and Mazi, main buddy team Joyce and Aline and Shagimi, and the other one doesn't. The other one has 8 people, and the other one has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 people. You guys see the difference? So for option 1, we don't know what the total adds up to. You guys understand?
Yes.
So for me, that's a problem. That's why I'm voting for option 2. We knew what the total added up to. We knew that it added up to less than the $3,000 that we have agreed upon, or that I've pushed forward, you know, based on our current budget situation. Then we would be good. But, you know, we potentially could spend up to as much as $5,000 overall. But this is just the initial. Let's get some people in the budget and move forward with that. These are the people who have the highest probability of getting in the budget. Does that make sense? But it doesn't say that nobody else is going to get in the budget. So let's just vote on it. So Lucy, you're going to vote?
Yes. Yes.
What do you mean yes? That's not what you're voting. You're voting on either option 1 or option 2.
I'm voting for option 2. I already voted.
Okay.
Yeah, I will also go for option 2.
Okay, Teresa?
Yeah, me also.
Mamoon?
Option 2.
All right.
Mamun.
Teresa?
Yeah, me too. Option 2. And the time is over for the budget.
All right. Did we get everybody? So Asif, what did you vote for?
Yeah, it's option 2, Jay.
Okay. So
Yeah, I will option 2.
and Mahidi option 2. Okay, so we're all in agreement on option 2. So I'm assuming there's no objections and we have consensus on that. So now the only thing that's left is to create, go through the responsibility. So to create, / update the budget proposal form and include the new budget proposal and send it out. Okay. So ideally, we would have someone who would volunteer to take that on as a responsibility to get the new updated budget form, because now we have an actual budget to work with. It'd be really good.
Do you have a budget proposal form?
Yeah, we
Or
do
we
have a
choose
budget.
a new
So if we go to the HR doc, so where would that be?
Sorry.
I'm just gonna find it here. HR board. Okay, so here's the HR board doc, and this is where I've been putting all the HR proposals. So this would be the HR management budget and policies voting form. So it would be this voting form here. And so we would want to add a couple things here. So we want to add this new budget here. And then we also want to add keeping the budget under $2,500, maybe $2,500 to $3,000, based on Jay's reduction in exit. So currently what passed in this proposal voting form, if you look at the voting form here, is that we had a proposal to do $4,250 for our base budget, not including bonuses and new recruits. And so this budget is substantially higher than what we probably should be passing. So the idea is this would be one option, and the other option would be this $2,500 to $3,000 level. So 4,250 is option 1. It's important to note here, based on that proposal, we could exclude Teresa, Nalabra, Mahidi, and Mamoon, which would significantly reduce the budget and allow us to add more people in. We just need to get it all updated. So we should be able to add more people. So we could split it up between the existing team. Yeah. So people needed to get Asif Mazi's proposals cleared, Joyce Aline Chagimi's proposals, get it all verified, and then we can add it into the new budget. And we can even create 2 separate budgets, one for the new recruits and one for the existing team members, because we do have a budget for each one of them. Okay, cool. So I think we're done with the budget discussion.
In our budget, Jay, we can add our jurisdiction as well.
Well, the jurisdiction exists in all the rankings. Like your hourly direct hour rankings has the jurisdiction, and then we have the jurisdictional rankings, and then we also have it within the main buddy team proposals, but we don't use the jurisdictional rankings for the main buddy teams. It's just like we need to cut the budget because the budget is just really high. So we just need to reduce the budget as much as possible. That make sense?
Yes.
Makes sense, yes.
Yeah, so we're primarily using direct hour rankings because that's the direct hourly HR rankings. The jurisdictional rankings is secondary, you know. So I mean, it's wonderful that someone's willing to get paid, you know, less than their jurisdiction, but it doesn't help if they still need $2,000 and someone else is willing to do this, you know, work for 200. So it just needs to be relative to the fact that we have no work. We have literally no work, no clients, no income as a team, and therefore it just anything that has any justification for keeping someone on based on work doesn't make sense to me. We get a new client and that person is the only person who can do that work. Sure, they can oversee that client, but right now we don't have any clients. We don't have any work to do. Therefore, if work and experience is the defining characteristic of why someone should be kept on, then I think it's a bad justification. You know, like our boss is the public, our boss are the volunteers. We should be supporting volunteers to get involved, not paying people thousands of dollars to, you know, and not work as a team to fix our budget situation, you know? Like we did it, we failed. It's like we need to move on, you know? The only thing that can destroy us at this point is just not cutting the budget. If we don't cut the budget, we go bankrupt. If we cut the budget, we'll be perfectly fine. As a network, you know? And then hopefully we can grow and get better and bring in more funds, and then we can rehire people back into the network. Yep. So any other questions about the budget?
Yes, Jay. How can now? Are we going to use the budget that we have for invoice? If, for example, we have like 100, so this is what you are going to budget for as a team?
Yeah, those are the super team budgets. So the global invoice tabulation is the super team budget. So everyone needs to fit into a super team budget first and foremost, and then it needs to fit into the global overall budget. That make sense?
Yes. What about if we have like our senior managers? You say you are going to give like 100. Are you still going to give 100 for every octave, so they can make the budget also including the senior managers?
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, you can basically kind of ignore the senior manager, but it would be $100 is what we're saying. We could vote on it if we wanted to, but as long as no one's concerned about that, we just do $100 for senior sextant managers. And hopefully we can get everything organized and get our senior managers back up and running in the future months.
So if you don't fit on the budget, so you're out.
Which budget? All the overall budget?
Octave.
No, if you don't fit in your Octane budget, you have the opportunity to move to a different super team, a different Octane, or the Jella team, or the recruitment team, or one of the other teams that we're doing recruitment for example, the Sonic team, right? We're opening up recruitment for the Sonic team as the next team that we're recruiting for. So what that means is that, you know, there are other options for getting into other budgets if your Octant team invoice tabulation and distribution of funds wasn't enough to fit you in the budget. So if you switch to another team as an individual or as a buddy team, then you will be, you know, still required to fit in the overall budget for the whole network and the organization, but, you know, it still gives you another chance to fit in the budget. Does that make sense? Like, so for example, if we look at our current budget that we just passed, so it's just, and we're going to cut all of these. These are all cut for now, at least. Put them over here for temporarily. Okay, so right now we have 4 buddy teams. 2 of them we're just not sure where they're going to fit, right? So Lucy and Joseph, I haven't verified that you guys actually fit in the dynamic team budget. If you guys don't fit in the dynamic team budget, you're pretty much guaranteed to fit in one of the other budgets. That makes sense?
Yes.
And either way, you still get bonus funds for working with the executive Jello team. And then Zuri, it's like, I don't know if there's funds for Albina and Steve O for Zuri team. I just don't know. So maybe they might have to switch to a different super team as well. I just don't know. Maybe they would have to go to Sonic or something. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah. So again, if you don't fit in your Octant or your super team budget, it's still, you still potentially can fit in the overall budget. So the probability that even if you don't fit in the Zuri or the dynamic budgets, the probability that you be included in the global budget is very, very high because we just passed it and it's within the amounts. And then from there, we want to add in Asif, Mazi, and Joyce, Shigimi, and Aline. And we just need to remember to cut out Teresa and Nilabra and Mahidi and Mamoon. You know, as long as it's under like $1,000 for all the new recruits for the month, we should be perfectly fine. And the probability that it's going to go over that is very low. And even if it does go over that, it wouldn't go over by very much. So we're just not worried about the new recruits. So the goal is to get the current team budget under the 2,500 to 3,000 mark. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yes.
but again, that's
Can you
based
allow
on the
Nalabra
new
to
proposal.
check in?
Sorry, say again?
Okay. Can you allow Nalabra to check in?
Oh, sure. Can she talk or?
Yeah.
Nilabra,
Nalabra,
do you have your microphone set up yet?
I think still problem.
Okay. All right. She can just check in. If she can hear us, she can just check in via Skype or the Hangout chat here. And just let us know how you're doing.
By the way, Jay, Nilabra is male.
Oh, I always forget that.
Yeah, it's
Sorry,
a male, yeah.
sorry, Nilabra. Nilabra, yeah, so he can check in whenever he would like to. No problem, he says. Okay, good. All right. So we'll get used to it eventually. So definitely go get your you know, get yourself fixed up because you need to get that audio going if you want to be able to work as a team with us. But we still allow people even who only have text only, but you're only getting like 25% value. So if you're making $4 an hour, just text only, you're basically making $1 an hour. Okay. So from there, if you're doing computer work and you're taking notes and you're actually actively involved on your computer and not just doing text only, then you would be making 50%. And so, for example, Asif is on his phone, so he's able to text and do audio. So he would be technically, you'd be at 50% value for today. Does that make sense, Asif?
Yes, Jay, it makes sense.
Yeah. Anyways, we're not too worried about it, but that's just our policies, especially for long-term problems with people having access to their computer or their audio, et cetera, et cetera. So, you know, for people, it's just a one-time thing. Obviously, we're probably not going to nitpick on your work report, but for people who it's a long-term thing and they have no computer, like if you lose your computer breaks or whatever, it's not like you can't continue to work. You can use your phone. There's a lot of things you can do on your phone, including social media and other things. But you just wouldn't get paid as much as if you have a computer, which would be more full interactivity. Anyways, let's move on for the, like, I wouldn't even mind just checking out. I mean, we got through the budget, was the most important thing. Let's see what the next topic is. Are there any other questions on the budget?
No.
So we have the recruitment coordination, and then we have the mandatory priorities here. I personally am perfectly fine just checking out because I'm not feeling great and it's getting late, and We did our 2 hours, but at the same time, if people wanted to do maybe just the mandatory priorities, we could and skip the recruitment stuff. Or if you want to just do the recruitment for 5 minutes, I'm not against that. What do you guys want to do?
For me, I don't know. Can we have a buddy teams? I think I can still continue a bit.
Sure. You guys want to do? You guys want to do buddy teams?
I'll be checking out because I'll fix my computer as soon as possible, and then I'll be back to work.
Okay, so let's go ahead and do a checkouts, and then people who want to do buddy teams can just say what they're going to work on and what buddy team that they might want to be in, and then we can break up, and then we'll be done. So Steve, let them know we're checking out and doing buddy teams, and then I'll check out.
Are you going to have executive session later?
I don't know. Just give me a Skype message later, okay? For Sonic.
Okay, thank you. Okay.
Right now I just need a break. Not feeling so well. Okay, so I'll check out first. I thought this was a good session. I would give it like maybe a 6. You know, I mean, we weren't great, but we weren't terrible. We also started kind of late, and we had some other problems, and but overall we had a good session. We followed most of the policies. We had a good. We had our priorities set up for the week. And we voted on the budget. I mean, I'm still very concerned about the budget. And that's going to be the main number one thing that I'm going to be continuing to work on. So I want to see the budget fully updated and perfect and know exactly who's in the budget, exactly who's not in the budget. But it's just like, it's too complicated and it's too I mean, we all need to come to agreement on it is the important thing. And right now we just don't have the data and the proposals all completed to be able to make the final decision. So hopefully by the new moon, we'll have that all ready to go. So I think that's it for me. Also need to do the nonprofit taxes, hopefully with Melinda on Friday. And yeah, I got lots of things going on with EXA and other stuff and other issues. It's just tons of stuff going on, but thanks for being here. Check. Lucy, do you want to take us through the rest of the checkouts?
Yeah. Lisa, can you check out?
And again, the checkout questions are how was the session score from 0 to 9, and what will you be working on? And then we'll also have the buddy team. So I'm not going to be doing buddy teams. I got to go take a break. Okay.
Okay.
So who wants to check out next? Is that you, Maman?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was great to have you in the session, Jay. And yeah, 6.5 and check out.
Okay, so what are you going to be working on, and are you going to do the buddy team?
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna do the buddy team with Mehdi. We have a buddy team already.
Well, no, this is just a work buddy team. For right now, are you planning on continuing to work right now for the next half hour or whatever? Or are you checking out and leaving?
Yeah, actually, Jay, I wanted to sign off, actually.
Yeah, no
I
problem.
need to go to somewhere, so that's why I wanted to check out right now, if that is okay.
Of course, yeah, that's great. We just wanted to know, and then also just let us know what your priority, what you're going to be working on for the next week.
Yeah, I will update all the talk. No problem.
Okay, but again, that's not the question. The question is, as far as you know now, what will you be working on as your priority for the next week? We all want to know.
Yeah. Hold on.
Cool.
Yeah, I got that.
Yeah, okay, just if you need to take a minute just to review your main doc, that's perfectly fine. And we can go on to the next person. Lucy,
Yeah.
Teresa?
So
Mm-hmm.
for me, It was a good session. Know more about the budget situation and ranking process. So for me, it was like I will give like a 6. I will be working on, since I don't have too much time to spend. So I will be work on training sessions, learn more about how the company works. I need to do that. This is what I'm going to do for next week, and decided more the other priorities and responsibilities that I want to have, and that's it.
Yeah, can I say, Jay?
Yep.
Okay, so my next week priorities would be get more organized, and I would like to take some session support and onboarding, and updating the personal support file as well. So these are the priorities for my next week.
Great. Okay, cool. So, I mean, what I hear for me on that is that it sounds like you've justly chosen at least one responsibility. You can technically do up to 3 sessions. I mean, only have you scheduled for 2, so you can add an additional day.
Additional? Yeah, I will. Yes.
Yeah. So just decide what day you want to add, and then once you learn learn a responsibility, you only have to learn 1. Then you can add a 4th day, and so on and so on. So, Teresa, we would want to hear from you, Teresa. Just like we understand that you want to do training, but you need to give us more focus on what kind of training that you're going to be doing. Like, what do you want to learn about?
Because this week I was learning about organize. How can I say?
Responsibility organizing?
Yeah, so
Great.
I was watching because it was the first thing that I should do before starting watch the videos for my responsibilities that I had to related to. Let me check here in my file. Is updating the verification spreadsheet. So I will be focused on this responsibility at first and learn about this responsibility and how to do it.
Okay, so the verification spreadsheets are good to know about and good to learn about, but currently we're on something called the mandatory priorities, and the mandatory priorities do not currently include the verification spreadsheets. So the mandatory priorities are a little bit more specific than that. So we want to get you focused on something that is here. I'll link the mandatory priorities doc. We didn't review it, but that was like one of our next topics for today if we had more time. So just make sure everyone reviews the mandatory priorities and takes a look at it. And then, one of your top priorities for this week, Teresa, will be to choose and prioritize, at least 3 to 5 responsibilities, right? So you would be at, you haven't really necessarily chosen your responsibilities, so you're at 2 sessions per week. So let's see here, Teresa. And we currently have you at 3. But anyways, you do have a responsibility. It's just not in the mandatory priorities, which could be a problem. But we're happy to see you on Monday, and hopefully we can get you into something, because I think you're perfectly capable of doing many of the mandatory priorities. Okay? All right, great. Okay, cool. So let's go on to the next person.
Yeah, guys, I'll be leaving out right now, and because I have to fix some of the issues which I'm facing right now here. It's 9 p.m. over here, and I feel excited about the session. It was a clear picture on budget, on the scenarios which we are facing right now, and probably I'm at 6.5 today. And my main focus is to maintain my MBT, my main buddy team, and I'll be working on midweek check-ins, global, invoicing, sonic invoicing, and sonic recruitment, responsibility organizing for the recruitment. And yeah, that's bit of done from my side. And thank you all.
Thank you.
And what about the session? Did you give it a score?
The session was about 7 for me.
Well,
You'll be working on what, Asif?
I'll be working on sonic recruitment. I'll be working on sonic responsibility organizing. Main buddy team is for me and Mazzy, invoicing, and midweek check-ins. Yeah. Oh, sorry, I forgot Ricola as well. I'll be looking forward to work on Ricola as well. Thank you.
Cool.
So, do you know where we will have a session for chat?
That would be during the 8th moon.
8th moon.
Do we have the 8th moon scheduled? Someone should check in with Zilu. Why don't you guys check in with Zilu about it? Okay, cool. So thank you, Asif. Also, Asif, for the Ricola, you really need to check in with me on that, and we need a document to list all of the priorities and the timeline. Okay, so you can help with that because there's a lot going on.
Right.
Okay. I'm at 6.5.
So
next
Mahidi,
I will be
Mahidi.
Yes.
So the number at the end of the session is not how you personally feel. You said I'm at. It would be your score for the session. So you would say the session was a 6.5. Does that make sense?
Okay.
Yeah, it's like you're giving the session a score. How much you liked the 2-hour session?
Okay. That is 6.5.
6.5. Okay.
And next month I will be working on checking priorities with workers. And
next month or next week?
Next week.
Mm-hmm.
And also work with octant scheduling.
You'll be working on what?
No. I will just ask for training.
Training. Mm-hmm. So do you want to say the other one again? What was it?
That is octant scheduling and checking priorities with workers. And also responsibility. Octant scheduling.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Cool.
Checking priorities with workers.
Great. Cool.
And also responsibility organizing. Already Lucy told teach me something about responsibility organizing, but I will work on more these topics.
Great. Okay. Sounds good. So yeah, you and Teresa are pretty well organized and have the three sessions per week, but we hope we can get you guys trained and active and whatever you're working on. Just remember, we do need to focus on the mandatory priorities as well. So, but that sounds good. Thank you.
Okay.
Lucy.
Oh, good. The session was good, and I give it 5.5. I'll be focusing on personnel, profiles, and main body teams. And also Ricola. I need to really get in touch with you, Jay, on Ricola. Also, I'll be prioritizing plasma if I have time for that.
Thank you, Lucy. And is anyone besides Lucy, gonna do buddy teams? I didn't hear anyone saying they wanted to do buddy teams. I don't think anyone's doing buddy teams, Lucy. So if you need to do some more work, you're welcome to do that as needed. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. But it's also good to take breaks. We have Sonic coming up here in an hour. Great work, everybody.
I can take break and wait for Sonic maybe.
Perfect.
Coming up. Yeah.
Thanks, everybody. Have a wonderful day. Take care. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Jeff. Bye.
Oh, we forget Nalibra. Can you check it over the Skype, Nalibra?
Oh.
Yeah,
Over
Nalebra, we want to hear what you're working on.
Can I leave, Jay?
Yeah,
Can I leave?
Yeah, you guys can go.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. So Nalebra, if you can just type, oh, here you go. It was a new and different experience. Sorry, I can't give rating. We'll follow my main buddy team. Secondly, we'll go through training. Most importantly, fix my mic. Great. Awesome. Thank you, Nalabra. And let's go ahead and copy that into the notes so we don't forget that Nalabra was here.
Yeah.
Oh, no, it's the wrong color.
Nalabra, do you have a problem of getting the... You have a problem of knowing the exact time so that we can give you the calendar and schedule? You don't know how to check on the calendar, the exact time? Okay, I'll try to see if I can help you schedule, give the link.
So calendar link for Nilabra. Also, I am not on the calendar as well. So if you could also add the calendar link or calendar sharing for jayslife.net or FQN would be FQNJaysLife@gmail, right?
Okay.
So for whatever reason, I can't access the calendar on my main calendar account. So cool. So yeah, if we could get those both done for me and Nalabra, that would be awesome.
Okay, I'll do it.
All right. See you guys later.
All right, thank you.
Yep.